Okay, we're back at it with the Jimny today. We have a stack of stuff to do, but I think, because it's going to be 90 something out today, we're just going to be doing the U-joints. And I put these U-joints here for comparison next to a Matchbox or Hot Wheels car, just so you could see how small these U-joints are. So, we have 6 of them. They're Moog number 398. These are the non-greasable, so these are sealed and stronger. Not that we need a ton of strength for the almighty F6A 600cc 3-cylinder turbo. We're going to be doing the energy suspension bushings on the leaf springs and the the leaf springs and the shackles. Okay, whew. I had to reach back deep into my head to find the word shackle. We're going to be changing over to 134 also for simplicity and trying to fix the AC, and I bought all kinds of stuff in case I need it. And then we have some new bushings for the shifter where it goes into the transmission, and I'm going to do that sometime also. But today our main goal is going to be these U-joints, and I'll say it should be pretty simple. We're just going to be unbolting them from the shaft here, and this has got a slip joint in it, but there's the front one. I'm going to do the back first. This thing is making a ton of noise. So, all right, let me get these unbolted and pulled off. I'll set them on the table and show you how to remove them. Okay, so I found the U-joint that's bad. It's this one here, and yeah, that thing's just, it doesn't even sound like it has bearings in it. This whole section moves. And the other videos I watched, did everyone fail to mention, or did I just watch the wrong videos, that you have to slide the transfer case back to get this shaft off? I didn't know it didn't unbolt off of the transmission. So, let's creep on over here. So, I had to undo that mount, and then there's two. There's one here, and then one here. And luckily, everything has enough slack that I was able to just, and this thing doesn't weigh nothing, I was able to just lift it up and slide it back, and then slide it off the back of the transmission right there. I've got the transmission held up because I also had to remove this front mount here, and I just pushed the transmission up with my hand and stuck a jack stand under it. But, that's it. And you can see it slid back right here. But and I can't get this drive shaft off, so I'm gonna have to heat these. These will not move. I think someone's looking at them. It looks like someone's had these off before, and these joints have been replaced, maybe. But I may have to come back and do these later because I don't have any heat right now. So I'm gonna not be able to heat these up to get them off. I may soak them in PB Blaster and see if I can get them off tomorrow. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the other shafts for now, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've made my marks. I'm going to make some extra ones on the other shaft. Like I just took a regular screwdriver, did my line here so that everything lines up and is in order. I did the same thing with the other shafts because I did paint on it, but I don't feel like painting a line down the whole thing. So I just took a screwdriver and made a line, so everything's lined up, and then the paint's on here and on the other shaft, so I'll be able to see where to bolt it up. The other tools I'm going to use are I'm going to use some needle nose to remove the C-clamps, the little holes. You just stick them down here. I don't know if I can do this one-handed or not. Oop. I may have to get my my tripod out for this. Yep, I am. But needle nose, C-clip, pop out. Obviously there's one on every side. And then ball peen hammer. You smack it right here while applying pressure and pushing up on it a little bit, just the weight of your hands. And then it should start coming up, but I'm going to put it on the tripod and show you. So luckily I found it. Let's see, are we... I think we're recording. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Okay. So here we have the joint. I ended up having to use a C-clamp remover, which I'm lucky I found it. I had no idea where it was. I found it over next to the tractor. But these go in your little holes, and I had to use a regular screwdriver to pop them out. You know, these things have been in here possibly since 1990. So I'm just going to hold this up, hit here. And we're coming up. We're starting to pop out there. Let's see if I can get it the rest of the way. I don't know if I can or not. I may have to use a socket to punch it from the other side. We'll see. So we're starting to come up. I believe you can see it right there as the cup's coming up. Let's see if I can get it the rest of the way. Dealing with these smaller U-joints, it's hard. You don't have a large striking surface or anything like you would with a truck. And I'm probably gonna have to get a pair of pliers to see if I can get that out. Something else we could do, let's see. So I can place this in a vise also, just to show you the other way of doing this. Probably need to put it in there a little tighter. I think I prefer the way I was doing it. Otherwise, your other option, if you're not using your vise, that works. I've literally almost beat the thing out of the out of it, and it's still not coming out. Let's see. I'll see if I can grab it with a pair of pliers. Un momento, por favor. Voila! It's off. Ooh. Yeah, that's a rough one. So, I'm gonna see if I can't get this one out and knock it back through. And it's heading up. Let's see. Look at that. This side is much nicer than the other side. Ooh, it's still in there good though. Look at that. And we've popped out. Nice. All right, let's work on getting the other ones out and we'll be on our way. So I'm basically going to use the same method as I did to get the others out and then see what angle this thing needs to be at to come out, because currently it doesn't want to come out. So we'll see. It just takes a little shimmying and moving around to find the right angle normally. So we'll get it worked out and get it popped off, and then I'll show you when I'm putting the other one on. I put one side in. As you can see, here it is. Let's see if I can, there we go. That's one side in, and you can see the cups are, I'm getting ready to put the cups on this side and put the other end on. I used the vise to put the cups on and then hammered them in the rest of the way. For me, it was the easiest way. I almost wish I had a press. It would have been so much better, but hydraulic press. But obviously the vise works. Some people won't be strong enough to use a vise to push these in. But with that being said, you could always use a pry bar to get it in there. So I'll show you the other side. I always put a little dab of grease. Let me make sure I have my lines lined up. Oh, yep, so here's my line, here's my other line. So it's gonna go on like this. So that's on there. I'm gonna take a little dab of grease. Now these are already greased from the factory, but I add a little bit extra. And I'm gonna pop this in here. And I'm going to throw this on the vise and see if we can't get this pressed in place. I'm going to hold on to this, obviously, so that I don't lose my bearings. I'm going to, that feels good. I'm going to add a dab of grease to this bearing cup and hopefully not move any of those bearings out of there. Looks good. I'm going to put this cap in place and throw it on the vise. moving around a little more than I'd like to, so. Okay. All the bearings are still in place, which feels fine. Okay, so all the bearings stayed in place, feels good. I'm going to set this down to where this can't move anywhere, which would be right here. I have a socket, heavy duty socket that just fits in the space there, and we're going to knock it down to where the C-clip will go on and then do the other side. That actually went in too far, so let's, which is fine. It's not the end of the world because I'm going to hit it from the other side and knock it back in place against this one. But actually, I had a bag of C-clips open already. Here we go. Here's your C-clips. You have your C-clip installer, which basically just goes in the holes. And like I said, this one went down a little too deep, so I'm just going to get it lined up where it goes. There we go. That should be right in place. It is. And then we turn it around. We're going to knock this one down to that one so we can put the C-clip on. That's loud, in case anyone was wondering. And that clip is in and looks good. And you'll notice that it's tight, like this isn't moving. That's perfectly fine. What you're going to do is just like when you were lifting them out, you're going to spin it around to the other side. And then, look at that. Everything moves nice and freely like it did before. All your C-clamps are in. And basically you're just going to repeat the process with all of them. And this is the bad one. The fact that I was driving with that. It's completely, I don't know if you can see it, it's completely missing all the bearings out of one side, if not both sides. So, all right, I'm going to get this going and I'll show you what it looks like when they're done. So what I found so far, at least with the Suzuki, the C-clip tool works better for me than what I normally use, which would be just needle nose pliers. But those tiny little C-clips and tiny U-joints, just I can't get that with needle nose. The ball peen hammer. I actually used both of these. Because of the smaller U-joint and the smaller knuckle that I'm hammering on, this worked really well. But when it came to hammering the ends down to get the C-clips in, I found that the larger ball peen hammer worked. And then I used a 15 millimeter that fit right into the opening for me to hammer the cups down into them. First though, this has been the winner for me, has been this vise here, because I was able to get the cups almost all the way in before having to hammer them and use the 15 millimeter socket to finish them off. So that worked really well. I used a steel bar just for a little more leverage and to make it a little easier to turn the handle, but obviously know your vice's limits because you don't want to go bending anything. And to remove the cups, when I was first hammering them and getting the cups lifted up out of the body, these channel locks, they as huge as they are, these things worked so well. So for twisting those cups off, and obviously you can use just regular pliers, vice grips, or anything. And I've had some where you hammer it and the caps just pop out of the top and you're good to go. So you know, a couple of these were really easy and some of them were a pain in the ass, but I got them all out and put back in. What I'm going to show you now is that slip yoke, the splines that have to be greased. So I'll be right back. And so I just walked out here and realized I haven't done this drive shaft yet. So, but I'm going to do these two last U-joints on this this slip yoke here. I'll grease that, and then it also has a grease fitting on it also. So I'll grease it prior to putting the boot and everything back on, and then slip them together and then grease it a couple pumps more with the fitting. That way I don't have to worry about any of this going out. But that's about it. We're wrapping it up. She'll be all done here shortly. I'll get everything bolted back together. I put the other U-joint, I put the other drive shaft back in, the one that's between the transfer case and the transmission, the short one, and bolted the transfer case back already. So, alrighty. Ooh. So this was the worst one. Look at that. Look at that. There was absolutely no needle bearings in it, and it was just banging around in there. And that's the transfer case to transmission drive shaft. It's 15 inches long, maybe 15, 20 inches long shaft. But yep, that was the worst one out of them. There was another one that had no grease on the needle bearings, but they hadn't burned up yet. And I went on a short drive, and it was no more clunks when I go into gear or when I start to go. And yeah, she's up and running good. I still have the clanking from the bushings, but the bushings are next, so we're going to be replacing all of those. And alrighty. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great day.